Good morning, this is Josh at Mass Gunworks. I wanted to take a minute and make a video about traveling with a firearm and mailing firearms. This is something that I've been getting a lot of questions about lately from friends and family that I have that are going on vacation, or they've had to go to a relative's funeral and they've inherited a firearm and need to take it back to their home state. So before we get started, I want to make it very clear, I am not giving you legal advice. I am simply telling you things that I know from my conversations with the ATF and other firearms dealers that have to deal with the legal end of this. My intention here is to educate and give you best practice methods of dealing with the situation. So there's right, there's wrong, and then there's this area that I like to call best practice, because it may not be the quote unquote, completely 100% right legal thing to do, but it's what is the best accepted practice currently. And it's kind of like when you're on the interstate driving and the speed limit's 55 and everyone around you is driving 70. Yes, it is the law that you should drive 55 miles an hour, but it's best practice to keep up with the flow of traffic so you don't cause an accident because you're driving too slow. So without further ado, here we go. I have some notes here on my phone, so you'll occasionally see me look down and reference this. First one, always follow state and federal law to the best of your ability, okay? So what I mean by to the best of your ability, I live in Indiana. There are four states, that border me. Going clockwise, we've got Ohio to the east, Kentucky to the south, Illinois to the west, Michigan to the north. So 3 of these states, I have no problem transporting a firearm through. One of them, I'm not going to mention my opinions about that state, but they have a real heartburn with firearms. So if I'm going through Illinois, I need to make sure that if I have a concealed weapon, since I have a concealed carry license, that once I hit the Illinois state line, that I am following their laws to the best of my ability. So for me, that's going to look like stopping at a rest stop before I cross the state line, taking my weapon, unloading it, putting the pistol in a case or some kind of bag or something in the trunk, well away from me. Ammunition's in a separate spot. Typically that is an accepted method of transport that will keep you out of trouble, because there's absolutely no way you can quickly and easily access that firearm and use it. It's pretty obvious that it is stowed in a method that could only be used for locked transport, so to speak. So and I say to the best of your ability, because there are going to be times when, you're trying your best to follow the law, but you may not know something, or something may have changed, or maybe you're just in a situation where you can't do everything the exact right way. So the best practice is to make sure that you know and understand the laws in the state that you live in and the laws in the states that you're going to be traveling to or through, and that you're doing everything you possibly can to follow those laws, okay? Within that, your risk is your baby. So, but I would strongly advise you to make sure that you're following, state and federal to the best of your ability. Here's some things to consider. I already mentioned a couple of these, but we'll go back over them. Are you transporting a pistol or a long gun? Long guns people don't typically have a whole lot of heartburn about. Pistols, they're kind of touchy. In the state of Indiana, when I went to get my my federal firearms license, I had to contact the state police and get a license specific to the state of Indiana for pistol sales. Okay, so pistols are much more concealable. They're a lot easier to transport and move around, and they're one of those guns that if an illegal sale or transfer of a firearm is going to happen, it's probably going to be a pistol. So they're a little more heavily regulated than rifles and shotguns are. That being said, if you're transporting a long gun, like say you're going to hunt in Wyoming and you live in Southern Ohio and you have to drive through Illinois, you're going to notice a trend with Illinois. Your best practice is going to be, again, have your rifle or shotgun stowed in a carrying case, preferably a hard case like one of those plastic plano cases with a lock on it, and then have your ammunition in a separate spot in the vehicle. If you happen to get pulled over, okay, there are some things that would have to occur before that police officer would be able to access your vehicle for a search. That's a different video. I'm not going to cover all that stuff now. But as long as you're not being an a-hole and being respectful of that officer, things should not escalate past, sir, I'm going to write you a ticket for speeding. In which case, there's no reason for him to go poking around your vehicle and look for a firearm. But in the event that somebody should, choose to flex their muscle power they think they have behind that badge, it's best practice to just keep the weapon stowed and locked in a case, ammunition in another area of the vehicle. That way, you're eliminating as many possibilities as you can of getting jammed up. All right. So next thing is the item that you're transporting a class 3 item. Does it have a suppressor? Is it a short-barreled rifle? Is it a fully automatic weapon? If it is, you had better have your paperwork. Okay, let me repeat that. You had better have your paperwork and be prepared to explain exactly what you're doing, because these are things that are completely legal for people to own and transport as long as they have the proper licenses. Not every law enforcement officer understands that. Not every law enforcement officer is educated to the point that they should be with gun law. And I'm not knocking cops. I love cops. I have a lot of friends that are cops. I have a lot of family that are cops. I'm just saying that it's been my experience that because of all the other things that these guys have to train on and know just to maintain their job status, they don't always have the time to keep updated on gun law. And if you're, rolling down the street and get pulled over, and for some reason, police officer sees that in the back of your car, and you being a good citizen that doesn't have anything to hide, says, "Yeah, you can check that. I don't have anything to hide," and he sees it's a short-barreled rifle with a suppressor on it, he may start asking questions. So have your paperwork and, tell the truth. Okay. Do you have a concealed carry permit? So if you have a pistol and you're going to transport a pistol, you had better get a concealed carry permit. If you choose not to do this, you are throwing yourself in the trick bag right out the gate, because most states, this is changing every day. Different states are doing different things, but most states require you to have a concealed carry permit to carry a handgun on your person. Okay. And if you choose to transport a handgun in your vehicle without having a concealed carry permit, you're opening yourself to a whole slew of problems. All right. It's what I would call a dumb move. Okay. So if you own a pistol and you plan on taking that pistol off your property and in your vehicle, I would strongly encourage you to get a concealed carry permit, because this this will keep you from having to explain yourself to police in a lot of different situations if you just have that permit. There's a little bit of a process you have to go through. It may cost you money. Mine cost me $75, and I have it for my lifetime. That's just how it works in Indiana. Now, because I travel occasionally, I also took the time to go ahead and get another permit from the state of Arizona. There are different states like Utah, Arizona, and there's one more that I always forget. I'll remember it later. Utah and Arizona are the two that come to mind readily. Florida, I believe, is another one. That you can get what's called a non-resident concealed carry permit. And different states have what's called reciprocity. So, for instance, Ohio does not recognize Indiana's concealed carry permit because we do not require our citizens to go through a pistol safety course like the NRA class. Ohio does, but they've chosen not to recognize Indiana's concealed carry permit. Now, that being said, if you get pulled over and the officer sees that you have a weapon and it is properly stored, unloaded in a different part of the vehicle, probably not going to have an issue, especially if you have a concealed carry permit. But if you have, like I have an Arizona concealed carry. Ohio does, I'm just using them as an example. Ohio does recognize the Arizona concealed carry. So I can use my concealed weapon in Ohio because I have that permit and be completely within the means of the law. There are something like 45 or 44 states that I can legally travel in with my concealed carry because I have my permit for the state of Indiana and I also have a permit for the state of Arizona. So it's something to consider if you plan on traveling with a firearm, a couple times a year, and you want to take it with you. It's just something to consider. The class that I took, and I teach it now, is, I believe, 2 days long. It costs about $250 to teach the class through the NRA, but it's definitely worth the money. The permit is, I believe, $65 every 3 years. So there's a little bit of a recurring cost, but it's worth it to know that I am legally covered should I get stopped by an officer for some reason and have to explain why I have a concealed weapon. I have my Arizona concealed carry, and I know that I'm legal in that state, so I'm good to go. And next thing on my list is, if you do have a concealed carry, what states is it honored in? I don't remember the name of the website, but if you just Google search concealed carry permit reciprocity, they'll have a map of the whole U.S., and it'll have a color-coded chart to show you what states honor your state's concealed carry permit, what states don't, and sometimes it'll have a menu to show whose concealed carry permits they do honor. Okay, so the next thing down is there another permit that I can acquire that would cover states that mine doesn't? And the answer is yes, and I already covered a couple of those. So you got Arizona, Utah, and Florida. I'm sure there's others. I haven't had to deal with this specifically for about 5 years. So I'm a little off my education on what states do and do not offer what they call a non-resident permit. Do you have a carrying case for your weapon? Already covered that too. So if you're gonna stow it in the car and keep it away from you, like I said, keep it in a case. A soft case is fine. Preferably use a hard case. You can go get one from Walmart for 15 bucks. They're cheap. Get a little padlock, put it in the case, lock it up. Okay. If somebody wants to get in there and get to that gun, they're going to get to that gun. Lock's not going to stop them. But just having that padlock on there and having it in that case, it just checks some boxes, and it'll help keep you out of trouble. Would it be easier for you to mail it to yourself? So here's a whole other can of worms. This is what's called doing a firearms transfer. So if you are, I just had this happen this week. A good friend of mine at work, he was needing to help his family members get some guns that they had inherited back to Colorado. Okay, so they have to drive through Illinois. There's that state again. And a couple other states, different gun laws. There's a pistol involved. So they decided, hey, let's just mail them. Okay, that'd be the easiest. So I'm going to give you the different options in order of the easiest to legal, but a little on the questionable side. So the easiest thing to do if you have to mail a firearm because you just don't feel comfortable transporting it across state lines in your vehicle, or you're flying somewhere and you don't want to have to go through all the mess at the airport with flying with a firearm, you can mail it. Best practice, take it to a gun shop, take it to any local FFL dealer. Again, you can look this up online. It should have a list of all the federal firearms license holders in your area. Take it to one of them and say, hey, I need to mail this. Okay, they're going to probably charge you a little bit. It'll get mailed, and they have to send it to another FFL in the state that you're going to. Okay, once it gets there, you'll show up, show your ID, and they'll probably charge you what they call a transfer fee, and they'll probably have you fill out a 4473 form, which is the form that you fill out when you purchase a gun to show that the weapon was transferred into your custody, and to go through the FBI background check and show that you're not a felon or restricted party. So that's how that works, and that's the easiest. That's the easiest process. It's probably going to cost you $150 start to finish because of the postage, paying for the guy's time, and then the weapons transfer fee at the other end. But that's the safest, easiest method for transporting a firearm across state lines. Is just take it to a gun shop and have them mail it. Okay. So the next thing would be you can take it to UPS, FedEx, or the post office yourself and mail it. Now, that being said, I would strongly encourage you to call said place and tell them, I need to mail a firearm. What is the process? Okay? Because it doesn't matter what the law is, these agencies may have rules that they're required to follow within the bounds of their agency. Okay? It's going to do you no good to sit there and argue with the postmaster for 20 minutes about what is and is not legal. He doesn't care. He has a list of rules that he needs to follow. He's going to follow those rules if he wants to keep his job, and we need to be respectful of that. So I would encourage you that if you're going to mail a firearm yourself, go to your local post office, your local UPS hub, FedEx, whoever, and contact them and say, hey, I need to mail a firearm. What paperwork do I need? Typically, they're going to need the copy of a license for the receiving FFL, and they're going to need a copy of your driver's license. That's typical, but again, call and ask. So the third point here, does it have to go to an FFL? This is just what I've been taught. This is just what I understand. The answer is no, providing that you are sending your weapon to yourself and you can guarantee that you are going to be the one receiving said weapon at the other end. So again, with the Indiana-Colorado example, if I am flying from Indiana to Colorado, I can legally send this gun in the mail to myself at my home address because it's my gun and I am giving it back to myself. Okay, I'm not transferring it to someone else. I have to ensure a couple things. One, I have to ensure that I am going to be the one receiving the weapon at the other end of the chain. Two, I need to ensure that I'm going to be there at my residence at time of delivery before the delivery date. That way I can make sure that I'm the one receiving this, okay? Now you notice I said that I was going to give you these suggestions in order of best practice down to legal but questionable, okay? This one is the legal but questionable. So I would encourage you to stay away from this, and I would strongly encourage you to go with go to a gun shop, tell them you need to mail it, and let them take care of it, okay? It's going to cost you a little bit more money, but it's the safest, easiest way to go, least amount of headaches, okay? Then the last piece of this, if you mail it, what do you have to do to get it back? Well, like I said, you're going to have to go to the receiving FFL, say it's Joe Bob's Gun Shop in Loveland, Colorado, okay? We're going to stick with the Colorado example. I'm going to walk in there. I'm going to say, hey, my name's Josh Mast. Here's my license. My brother sent me a couple guns of mine from Indiana, and I'm here to pick them up, okay? They should notify you by email or phone call to let you know that you have stuff in their shop. You will also get some tracking data, hopefully, when these get mailed. And that tracking data, you can use it to show, hey, these are here. I'd like to pick them up. So what the guy behind the counter is going to do, he's going to go get a 4473 form. He's going to have you fill it out. I know that your guns, you shouldn't have to do this, but it is what it is. So just do it. He's probably going to charge you a fee for the transfer. So backing up a little bit, while you're fishing around for a place to send these, I would always ask a few things. I would ask, what is your procedure for doing a weapons transfer if I'm mailing guns to myself? Secondly, I would ask, what is the cost of the transfer? And is it per item or total? Okay, because sometimes they will charge you by the item. So you will be charged, for instance, $35 per gun, okay? Other gun shops are only going to charge you for the whole transfer. So you may send 5 of them, and it may only cost you $35 for the whole transfer. The other gun shop, they're going to charge you $35 per gun. So you got 5 guns, that's $175 on top of the shipping fee and on top of whatever fees the FFL that sent them for you may have charged. So these are all things to consider, okay? Like I said, this is just information that I have picked up over the years I happen to deal with this. These are questions that I have asked the ATF and other people that are in the industry that I trust. These are the answers that I've got. Okay, so I just wanted to take a minute and share them with you. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to share those. My email is maskgunworks@gmail.com. I am open to being educated because, like I said, in the firearms industry and in the legal arena, things are changing on a daily basis. And some of the stuff that I thought may be right and true as of yesterday or last month may have changed. Okay. And I don't have the time to, keep up on every little thing, which is why I constantly ask questions. Okay. When I go to the post office, I always ask, what do you need? It's a lot simpler for me to ask and play dumb than it is to think I know what I'm doing and get proven wrong and get jammed up. So I ask questions. Like I said, this has been helpful. Awesome. If you have anything to add, please leave a comment. Please keep it respectful and constructive. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a good one.